I partied a lot in my early 20s. Many, many good times, chasing highs for the fun of it, and many times to escape anxiety and existential angst. The feeling of being high and connected and these altered states of consciousness can be really fun. However, when you're ingesting substances into your body, things can go south pretty fast. Bad trips, destructive relationships, and not to mention the toll that it takes on your body. So I thought I'd make a video to share with you some ideas of how you can experience altered states of consciousness and get high on your own supply. And stay to the end because I'm gonna share with you what I find to be the most addicting and satisfying feeling in the entire world and how you can get it too. So if you're new here, my name is Soul, and I created the Living Narrative to show you how to quickly transform your story, because the story you tell becomes the life you live. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm on a mission to show you just how extraordinarily powerful and magical you really are inside and out, so that you can create juicy relationships and create a life of passion and purpose. Go ahead and hit subscribe and the bell button if you'd like to be notified whenever I post a video. All right, so how to get high without drugs. Number one, top of the list is breath work. There's so many kinds of ways that you can connect with your breath. There's different breathing techniques you can breathe, alternate nostril breathing, and there's also different kind of breath work. There's holotropic and rebirthing and these different kinds of breathing patterns that will actually have very strong visceral physiological effects on your body. And many people report having visual experiences, releasing energy and tension from the body, and having really big, powerful healing experiences. I've done this several times. I've done rebirthing breathwork primarily. And of course, with my Kundalini yoga training for 2 years, I did so many different kinds of breathing techniques. I did my yoga teacher training, my first one, when I was 17. And so I've used different kinds of breathing patterns. And when I had anxiety, I would use them. It would help me to calm down. So those things are a lot more gentler, but when you get into a breathwork session that's kind of feels like it's kind of like a psychedelic experience, or it can be for some people. Sometimes it's just physical, but sometimes people actually go out and have visions, and that actually happened to me, and it was so cool. And I've had massive physical body healing through breathwork sessions. So definitely something I recommend. It's at the top of the list for a reason. You will have very different experience of altered states of consciousness with different kinds of breath work. So definitely check it out, see if there's anything in your area. It's something I do recommend doing in person. Sometimes there's groups that get together, so see what you can find in your area. Second thing I want to share is called the Ajna Light. There might be other names, I'm not totally sure. One of them is the Lucia light, but basically what it is you lay back with your eyes closed and you have this light in front of you, and it shines and flashes all of these lights at your face when you have your eyes closed. And I've experienced this 3 times. Oh my gosh, so incredible. The very first time I was my whole body was vibrating, and I felt like I was getting an energetic massage, but it was also physical, and it felt so relaxing but also very stimulating. And for the hours afterwards, I felt like I was floating. That session was 10 or 15 minutes, and then I did it again. That was 5 years ago, and I did it again recently for probably a half an hour, maybe longer. And I was also listening to music at the same time, and the music that was synchronized with the light was so trippy. So I don't know, I had visions, but more than anything, I had this really deep sense of peace. And I don't know very much about them, but I think there's like different programs that you can run, different lights, they shine and create different patterns which give you different effects. So something really, really cool to try if you've never tried it before. It's really fun. Number 3 is floating in float tanks. So many people report incredible healing effects as well as sometimes hallucinations in sensory deprivation tanks. I personally haven't really spent much time, hardly any time at all actually, floating. I've done it 3 times. So I don't really have a whole lot of personal experience to share with them. For me, it's just been really relaxing, but I know people who have spent a lot of time as using float tank as their personal practice, and it's been completely life-changing, and they get into altered states of consciousness whenever they go into the tank. So definitely something really cool to go into. You're just in total darkness and you're floating in this like salty water and you feel this lightness. And I imagine if you were to do it pretty regularly that you would just connect with yourself in a way that's beyond the body, because you do start to feel weightless. You don't feel your body as much. So that's something that I'm sure at some point in my life I will spend some time exploring more. Number 4 is essential oils. So I barely wanted to mention this. I actually, like at the last minute, was like, okay, I'll just share a little bit, because sometimes I can get a little buzz off of some essential oils. I mean, I don't really use them often, but one that I really like is rosemary. Whenever I need to focus, or I'm writing or studying something, I will literally have a bottle of rosemary and just be sniffing it, and I feel like it makes me like get a jolt of focus, kind of like having a coffee. That's about it. I can't really recommend any other essential oils to give that kind of an effect. Sometimes lavender, like if ever I have a bath that has a lot of lavender, I feel like really like gooey and melty, which is kind of cool. It's more of a body effect, but I don't generally really like lavender very much. So anyways, I just figured I'd throw that out there because sometimes I can feel like an effect on my body, but it's definitely more physical and primarily just with the rosemary. Number 5 is my absolute favorite, and that is ecstatic dance, which is basically just dancing. No choreography, no rules, no trying to look cool. It's just about being in your body and expressing however it wants to move. And the way I experience it is that the music is literally moving my body. So I'm really not thinking about what I'm doing. And it's such an amazing spiritual experience for me, because it's like I'm in my body, but like I'm not really moving my body, and it frees up my spirit. It gives me this incredible feeling of connection to myself and to everything. And ecstatic dance is something that doesn't compare to anything else for me. I've been doing yoga and meditation for more than 10 years, and although those are incredible experiences, ecstatic dance is like on a whole other level for me. So if you're interested in trying something like this, these are dance parties that are totally sober, no booze, no drugs, nothing. It's just about you and the music and dancing. So if you search for something nearby, you might look for ecstatic dance, or there's a specific type of ecstatic dance called 5 rhythms. And I'm sure there's little variations of that in LA. There's Dance Church, and I even heard about this like 5 a.m. rave, which is basically like ecstatic dance before you go to work, which I don't wake up that early and to like go to work at an office or anything, so I would never do that. But I can imagine that would be way better than coffee if you had to get up and go to work, like get up and go to the gym and go to work, and instead you get up and go do a dance party. I would for sure do that. Okay, let me know in the comments if you've ever tried any of these things. Number 6, very much related to movement, is the endorphins you get from exercise. So this one's kind of obvious, but I really think it just needs to be mentioned, because if you're kind of living a sedentary lifestyle and you don't really get your heart rate going, you can forget the impact and how naturally high you feel from the endorphins when you're exercising regularly. This winter, I kind of like, especially when I was in quarantine, I had to quarantine a few times because I was traveling and I wasn't moving very much, that when I started getting into a regular exercise routine after that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is how good it feels to be alive. So I feel like the reminder is just, when you move your body and you're exercising and really getting your heart rate going, it feels so good. Number 7 is all about being in nature. And not just like an hour at the park, but like at least 4 or more hours with zero technology. No podcast, no headphones in, no screens, no phone, just away from technology, in nature for a long, long time. You could be sitting at the beach or hiking or whatever you're doing, but like really allowing yourself to immerse in nature. This will give you a very relaxed, euphoric feeling. The final thing that I want to share with you is the most addicting feeling in the world for me, and that is clarity. It's this moment of sudden realization when I learn something new about myself or the world. Not like from reading a self-help book or learning something in a video, but from deepening my own understanding of who I am as a soul having a human experience. And no drugs are required for you to experience this. And in fact, the more I kind of think about it as like cleaning a window. It's like there's the window of perception and it's foggy and I'm cleaning it. And as I clean it, I'm just seeing more clearly what is right here and what has always been right here. And the feeling that I get every time I clean the window and I can see things more clearly, what it does in my life is it feels at first like a little like instant high when I get the sudden new realization or awareness for myself. And when I notice that, I kind of like up level to this new like energy of now I live at this energy. This translates in my life as joy and energy, and I see it reflected to me in the world around me, to the point where the things that used to get me high they would only like drag me down at this point, because this clarity and this window cleaning, if you will, has got me to such a high state of consciousness and like just positive energy. And it's not like I never have a bad day or anything, but the direct thing that has allowed me to live in this feeling of being high all the time, just naturally living my life, it's directly correlated to this window cleaning and this feeling of clarity. As I mentioned, I used to live in anxiety all the time. Growing up, I learned how to be strong and survive. I started working at a really young age. And as I got older, I was just always stressed about money and relationships. And I just never felt okay. I didn't have any peace. I didn't even know what that word meant. I thought it was just this like sign people put up around Christmas time. I was always reaching for wine and weed and cigarettes and shopping on Amazon and watching TV. These things don't have to be bad, but I was just using them to escape my mind. And then I started to learn that all this anxiety I felt had to do with all the stuff I learned in my childhood. The way that I saw my mom doing relationships, the way I didn't feel safe and like we never had enough, the ways that I thought that I was actually worthless and that my life didn't have any value except to make money and make other people happy. And when I finally started to understand that these were just patterns, it wasn't who I was, these are just things I learned and I could unlearn them, I started to get this amazing clarity, like this luminous clarity. And it's so beautiful. I love it so much. Whether you're just looking for a good time, or maybe you're trying to escape a really dark inner world, no matter what's going on, just know that there's nothing wrong with you. There's a lot of garbage stuff on TV and the media and the news and all of these things with like beauty standards and these old archaic ways of living that we inherited from a bunch of people who didn't really know any better. But none of that defines who you are. Honestly, these are literally just like old, outdated software programs running in your mind, and you can change them. Just like your phone wants to update like every 3 weeks. You get a new software update. Well, you can also do that for your mind. And when you do, it's not just about healing all this trauma. You can actually access these incredible states of deep connection and learn more about who you are. And the things that I've shared with you in this video today are all really fun ways to explore different ways to get out of your current paradigm, your current software. All of these things that I've shared can get you into a different state that can make you open to new information, which can bring about that luminous clarity. Hypnotherapy is also a really powerful tool to rip out those old patterns at the root and write a new story for yourself. So if you're curious to learn more about that, come to thelivingnarrative.com and book a call with me. I'd love to connect with you. Here's a few more videos that you may be interested in checking out. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.